Colts fans, I have been sitting here staring at the latest rumors, and honestly, it feels like our patience is being tested once again. A report just surfaced regarding the future of our offense that has me questioning everything I thought I knew about the front office approach. The stakes here are massive because we are talking about the absolute heartbeat of this Colts team being linked to a potential departure. It is difficult to ignore the noise, and the implications for our upcoming season are genuinely wild. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city below. Let's dive in. For the shoe, Jonathan Taylor is back in the headlines as CBS sports analyst Garrett Podell has sparked a major debate by predicting the Colts will trade our superstar running back before this year's deadline. Since arriving as a rookie in 2020, Taylor has been the undisputed engine of this offense, racking up 7,598 rushing yards and 76 total touchdowns to cement his status as the second most productive runner in franchise history, behind only Edgerrin James. And honestly, we cannot imagine this team without him because our entire identity relies on his explosive ability to move the chains and find the end zone. The report suggests that if we get off to a slow start, Indy might look to dump his salary to save $13 million and pursue a rebuild, potentially sending him to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here is where it gets interesting, as this speculation has sent the fan base into a frenzy because we feel Taylor is simply untouchable. Let's be real. While we saw the front office trade Michael Pittman Jr., to clear cap space for Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce, moving Taylor feels like a complete betrayal of the team's competitiveness. That matters because despite upcoming contract dilemmas for veterans like DeForest Buckner and Quentin Nelson, the offensive drop-off without our star back would be catastrophic for our playoff hopes. Now here's the thing. Many of us believe the organization will do whatever it takes to keep him in Indianapolis for his entire career, as he is the ultimate lifeblood of our squad. Losing our most valuable playmaker over hypothetical cap savings is a nightmare scenario that we hope never comes to fruition. As Colts fans, we know the value he brings to the field every Sunday, and we remain hopeful that our front office realizes that JT is the heart of our chase for the shoe. The speculation surrounding Jonathan Taylor began brewing because he is entering the final year of his contract, creating a looming sense of urgency for the front office. And honestly, this situation feels eerily reminiscent of the Michael Pittman Jr. trade, a move that stunned us all when management prioritized long-term financial flexibility by locking up Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones instead. That matters because it proved that no jersey is truly safe, regardless of pedigree. With Taylor set to save the franchise $13 million in cap space if moved, analysts like Garrett Podell are already mapping out his exit route to teams like Pittsburgh. Let's be real, the front office is likely having difficult internal debates right now about the short shelf life of star running backs, especially considering Taylor has endured significant wear and tear since 2020. They are balancing his undeniable on-field value against the impending financial requirements for aging pillars like DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. If the team starts slow, the temptation to strip assets for draft capital might override loyalty. Here's where it gets interesting though. Unlike the Pittman scenario, Taylor is the literal engine of this unit. We have seen this team struggle to function whenever he misses time, making the argument for trading him a risky gamble on our offensive ceiling. Now here's the thing. The front office is surely keeping one eye on the 2027 free agency class, where locking up Quentin Nelson is clearly the top priority. Could they sacrifice our star back to pay for a dominant offensive line? It is a cold, calculated business reality we must confront as Colts fans. Yet, I refuse to believe they will part ways with a player sitting at 7,598 rushing yards. For the shoe, we have to keep our best talent home, regardless of what the critics say. The trade rumors surrounding Jonathan Taylor are swirling, but as Colts fans, we need to look at the reality of this situation. That matters because the engine of our offense cannot simply be replaced by a draft pick if we expect to remain competitive in a league where elite playmaking defines success. And honestly, trading Taylor for cap flexibility would completely reshape our depth chart by forcing younger, unproven backs into a high-pressure role that Taylor has mastered since 2020. Here is where it gets interesting regarding the salary cap, as moving him would net us $13 million, potentially clearing space to retain pillars like Quentin Nelson before free agency arrives. Let's be real, our schedule does not get any easier with looming battles against tough defensive fronts. If we move on from our bell cow, our offensive efficiency in critical matchups against divisional rivals will plummet. If the Titans under Robert Saleh and GM Mike Borgonzi tighten their grip on the AFC South, losing our primary weapon would severely damage our playoff chances and limit our ability to sustain drives against high-powered offenses coached by guys like Ben Johnson or Joe Brady. Now, here's the thing. While the front office might feel the temptation to offload veteran contracts to prioritize future extensions, Taylor is the identity of this franchise. Giving away our most explosive player would signal a rebuild rather than a title hunt. Our standing in the conference hinges on having a playmaker who forces defenses to stack the box, creating space for everyone else. If we want to stay in the hunt for the postseason, we must keep our best talent in Indianapolis. Protecting our assets is essential if we intend to march into every Sunday with a legitimate shot at victory. On one side, there is a legitimate case to be made for trading Jonathan Taylor before the deadline if the season turns south. By moving our star back, the front office would clear $13 million in cap space, providing vital breathing room to secure long-term deals for cornerstone pieces like Quentin Nelson before they hit free agency. With the team facing tough decisions regarding veterans like DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, offloading Taylor could serve as a desperate but calculated reset to prioritize the future. But on the other side, the risk of losing the engine of our offense is simply too great to ignore. Taylor is the identity of this team, and trading away our most potent weapon would signal a surrender that we just cannot afford. Media analysts like Garrett Podell are already drumming up trade scenarios, specifically linking Taylor to a reunion with Michael Pittman Jr. in Pittsburgh. That matters because the national narrative sees us as a team on the verge of a teardown if we stumble early. Let's be real, other franchises are keeping a close watch on our situation, hoping we undervalue our greatest asset. Here is where it gets interesting, as names like Ben Johnson in Chicago or Mike Vrabel in New England have their own roster battles, but none possess a force like Taylor. Personally, I think trading Jonathan Taylor would be a massive mistake that sets this franchise back by years. He is the lifeblood of our attack, and regardless of how the start of the season goes, we must keep him in the building. He is closing in on Edgerrin James for the franchise rushing record, and he deserves to finish his career as a legend here. Now here's the thing. For the Shoe, we need our best players on the field. That is the only path forward. And honestly, the big picture here tells us that the Colts are at a massive crossroads regarding their identity. This team is clearly shifting toward a core built around long-term stability and deliberate roster construction. Keeping Jonathan Taylor signifies that management understands how vital a superstar running back is to our offensive floor. That matters because it dictates whether we are a legitimate contender or just another middle-of-the-pack squad. Let's be real, as Colts fans, we should feel confident but cautious heading into this season. We have an elite talent who acts as the engine for everything we do, which gives us a fighting chance every single Sunday regardless of the opponent. Here is where it gets interesting, as this decision sets the tone for how we handle upcoming free agency battles involving veterans like DeForest Buckner and Quentin Nelson. Now, here is the thing. Holding on to a player like Taylor proves that this franchise values winning in the present just as much as planning for the future. It creates a culture where top-tier talent is rewarded and protected instead of being treated as disposable assets. We have seen how quickly things can change with coaching shifts like Ben Johnson in Chicago or Mike Vrabel taking over in New England, so having that consistent heartbeat in the backfield is our greatest advantage. If you were sitting in the front office, would you risk losing draft capital by keeping Taylor, or would you pull the trigger on a trade to secure our future depth? This is the defining debate for our season trajectory, and I want to hear your take below. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. For the Shoe, I'll see you in the next one.